Captain Rick Rock TV. Let's get to the content.
When Nolan Wells' body ended up back on land, it was suspicious to me as well as others. I seen people in the comment section saying, wait a minute, they found his body a day later in the same spot that he was last seen. Raised the eyebrow. You had people that came and said, we got another body that we found on the other side of the island, the way that the current rolls down the river. So, man, we're going to get to this content with this expert on Willie D Live and see what they got to say. And yes, it's suspicious, y'all. Let's check it out.
Willie D Live.
I'm going to prove that Nolan Wells was physically dropped or dumped at the shoreline where he was found, just based on AI science or biology. Starting with this. Cajun Navy official Brian Trasher actually says that he was stunned that when Nolan Wells was found, he did not appear to be bloated whatsoever. He was face down, but he didn't appear to be bloated. But why? Now, we know this general area of Horn Island is known as a washing machine. So here, in the dynamic maritime environment, such as a washing machine currents off Horn Island, hydraulic forces override buoyancy physics, which means powerful undercurrents, rough surf, or shifting tides can mechanically sweep a sunken body off the seafloor and churn it back up to the surface, even if the body is still completely unbloated. But here's the big one. This is the one that I want everyone to pay attention to. You may actually skip the whole sinking process in general. If an individual is unalive before their body enters the water from a medical emergency, foul play, or trauma on a boat, their lungs may still be fully inflated with air. Because their lungs are never filled with water, the body preserves its natural buoyancy and can float face first on the surface immediately, skipping the initial sinking phase entirely, which now brings to question, he was found face down, he wasn't bloated, which means he skipped possibly the sinking phase. Then how come no one saw him on July 5th until July 6th? It's really starting to prove my theory of he was dropped off there.
We all thought that. When we seen that video, not the day that he was missing or the next day, the 6th, he ended up missing on July 4th. They found him on the 6th. When we seen that and heard that, we said, wait a minute, no, this don't make no sense. He was missing for one whole day. You mean to tell me that his body come right back to the same spot? And coming to find out, according to what he says, he wasn't bloated or anything? You've been up in there well over 24 hours. You would think it'd be water in the lungs and so forth. That's exactly why the lungs was missing. And then we got the district attorney, which I'm going to do another video after this, coming to find out she's in a relationship with an FBI agent. Man, hey, everything is coming out. We're going to get to that, but let's get back to this, man, and see what Willie D got to say about this, man. Let's go.
I ain't got no problem with that theory, fam. Look, who knows? Who knows? Did they do what they did to him on the boat and then transport him back to the inland and then decided, you know what, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. Let's send him back out there. And then next thing you know, he washed up on shore. But did he really wash up, or was he already right there where the water begins, right? Like right there in the shallow waters, right? I don't know what they did, exactly how they did it, but I know they did it. That's right. I said it, man. I ain't scared of y'all. I know they did it. That's right.
Wow.
I know they did something.
Man, them big claims. I know they did it. No allegedly or anything. He's 100% sure. He's saying, I know they did it. You know, when you look at all the evidence and you get to add things up, common sense would tell you that something was done. Now, we don't know who did what yet. He said, I know they did it. Uncle Willie D said, I know they did it. I'm not even about to play. I'm not scared of nobody. I know they did it. We gonna find out, but this theory do make sense to me. It makes sense. You know, what do y'all think? Do it make sense to y'all? The body ended up in the same spot. The body wasn't bloated. Anything. It seemed like it was dumped right back, like it was dumped instead he washed back up. All right, let's get to this.
They did something. This theory in the Nolan Wells case, I don't think that it can simply be laughed off without somebody doing the scientific work to test it first. If Nolan didn't naturally end up where his body was found, like, what if his body was placed there? Like, seriously, let's take a look at all you people that don't believe that was foul play. Just look at it from the other end for a moment. What if, because I looked at it from y'all's side, and I gave y'all the benefit of doubt for a minute. Then I came back to my conclusion. But what if Nolan's body was placed there? I'm not saying that it was. I'm not saying what happened. I'm just saying, what if his body was placed there? There is currently no publicly verified scientific findings proving that Nolan's body was dumped, and the independent autopsy listed his cause and manner of death as undetermined. But there are enough unanswered questions to ask whether investigators have scientifically tested that possibility. Nolan disappeared on July 4th. His body wasn't found until July 6th. And according to people involved in the search, Nolan was eventually discovered face down and fully clothed near Horn Island. Now, here's where science becomes important. If authorities believe Nolan drowned somewhere and currents carried him to the recovery location, that theory should be testable.
Right. You would think the current will move his body further down, the same way they found the body prior to Nolan Wells. This incident even occurred. They found another body that washed up and ended up on the other side of the island. So if that's the way that the current is going, you would think that Nolan Wells definitely wouldn't have been found in the same location that he was missing in. The same location? That don't add up to me, man.
Right or wrong, fam? Show us the current modeling. What were the tides during those 2 days? What direction were the currents? How strong were they? What were the wind conditions? What would a body entering the water at the presumed drowning location most likely travel? Why we got to do the detective work? Why we got to do all this?
And why it didn't pop up the next day? See, whether the current was going east or west, north or south, it would have popped up somewhere else. If the current was going this way, it would have popped up that way. This way, it would have popped up that way. But 24 hours later, the current just so somehow take him right back to where he was last seen.
They should be doing all of that, right? I can guarantee you, I bet you $1 to a donut they're not using their resources to do that. It's not hard to do. If we can come up with these questions, you know they can. I mean, they went to the academy for it. He studied for it, right? And here's the big one. Does the location where Nolan was actually found make sense scientifically?
It don't make sense to me. Not just scientifically. No, it don't. To answer your question, it don't. Don't make sense to nobody. And then I seen another platform say that the audio that we heard on the boat was fake. I stopped watching Nancy Grace because she had somebody on there talking about they seen Nolan Wells on the island after 6 o'clock, as if we didn't hear what we heard on that tow call, basically saying that was a fake audio. That's the only reason why we haven't heard anything from the lawyer yet. We don't know what Ben Crump over there cooking up, but we know that he for sure had that audio. He haven't said anything about it being fake. He haven't said anything about it being real. He actually haven't said anything about the audio except we have it. So, yeah.
Because ocean currents aren't magic. You can model movement through water. Search and rescue professionals, they do it all the time. Investigators can examine tides, currents, wind direction, water temperature, and the estimated time a person entered the water. So you can't tell me that these things are not possible. One searcher has publicly suggested that the water conditions could explain why Nolan's body was recovered surprisingly close to where he was last seen. That is evidence investigators should examine seriously. But it's still just a theory that needs to be tested against the complete forensics picture.
Don't worry about it. His lawyer is watching this. All they got to do is put up the name, and everybody who did content on is going to pop up. Not saying that our content is facts, because all this stuff is alleged. All this stuff is opinionated. All this stuff is a theory. But at the same time, you still got to listen, because you don't know who was there, who didn't put up some content, maybe on TikTok and somebody grabbed it. You got to look at all leads. All leads. You never know. Like the letter that we seen, we don't know if that was an actual letter. It could be, it could not be. But we got to take everything in consideration. Take all these leads. Let's get back to this.
And if the science modeling says a body entering the water at point A, during that period, could reasonably arrive at point B. That supports the natural drift theory. But what happens if it doesn't? That's where this becomes extremely interesting, because then investigators have to consider other explanations for how Nolan got there. There's another question. Searchers were looking for Nolan before his body was discovered, so investigators should establish exactly which areas were searched, when they were searched, and how. See, that's the big one right there, fam. That's a big one. Because if they searched that area, let's say they had just searched the area 20 minutes ago. Then
what if they didn't search the area? What if they just telling us that and didn't really search it at all? Really didn't put no effort, made it look like they were searching. As soon as they found the body, they said we didn't see no foul play. And they said the man had marks all over his body, dark bruises. So if he wasn't in the water and he was actually dumped, all the evidence that could have proved it, they have. I don't know if the second examiner even got those lungs. You know, let's get back to this.
All of a sudden, the body is there. They come back and the body is there. That's a problem. Was the eventual recovery location previously searched? That's what the question is going to be. Was it observed from boats? Was it viewed from the air? What were visibility conditions? Could a body realistically have been missed? I don't think so, fam. I don't think so, because if qualified searchers thoroughly examined the same location and Nolan was not there, and then later found his body appeared there.
We already know. We already know the rest. Y'all can go over there to Willie D and check out the rest, man. Let me take y'all to Willie D Live. channel so y'all can know how to go over here and watch the rest of the content. Bear with me. Give me a second. Here we go right here. So y'all can go over there to Willie D Live and check out the rest of that video. Do it sound like his body was dumped to y'all? Do it sound like it's a lie, man? What do you mean a lie, Rock? It sound like it's a lie to me. It don't seem like his body just mysteriously popped up in the same location. That theory of it being dumped sounds the same. It sounds about right. Sounds about right. Leave y'all thought in the comment section. What do y'all think? Share the video, like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel, Compton Rick Rock with Compton Rick Rock TV. I'll catch all of y'all on the next reaction.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Compton Rick Rock TV. Also, hit that notification bell and catch every video when I drop.